Hi guys, this is Jennifer. My research thesis is nutrition and balanced healthy diet is important in the academic achievement in school children. I'm currently studying to be a math teacher, but I have a very strong interest in health and nutrition. I've noticed in myself that when I eat healthy and I'm able to think better, I am not as tired and I feel more focused. As a substitute teacher, I noticed how poorly many students eat, and I've always had interest in how poor nutrition affects academic outcomes. This was a great opportunity to research this topic of interest. The central questions I focused on in my research paper is, how does poor nutrition affect the student's academic performance? How does food insufficiency affect learning outcomes? And do school lunch programs differ depending on socioeconomic status? And are free and reduced lunch programs nutritious? I began my research by looking for studies that have been done on the relationship of nutrition and academic achievement in school-aged children. I've included studies in my research conducted by the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey I read about in the Journal of Nutrition and Food Science that supported my thesis. A specific study I found very interesting tested how iron deficiency can affect students' learning outcomes. In this study conducted, they utilized students' test scores and grade point average to determine the base level of cognitive capabilities on some of the research presented. To investigate, they tested the hemoglobin levels of 5,398 children, which indicates anemia, and calculated for each age group. In their study, they found that 3% of the students were iron deficient, which calculates to approximately 1.2 million students in the population who are either anemic or iron deficient. In the second part of their study, they administered a math test to all of the students in their sample. The result of this study, they found that 71% of students with low iron levels scored below average on mathematics, whereas 49% of children with normal iron levels did. This study represented how low iron can have an effect on students' test scores. In conclusion, low iron levels can be found in both high and low socioeconomic students. Students in both low and high economic schools may have iron deficiency due to poor eating habits. Unfortunately, lower socioeconomic students are less likely to get the medical attention to get iron deficiency diagnosed. Therefore, it goes unnoticed. During this research, I was particularly interested in the nutrition value of school food. My research book, Fixing School Food in America, opened my eyes to the deep politics of food, taste, and more, which contribute to the poor nutrition of students. An area of my research I found specifically interesting is school lunch programs for low socioeconomic students and the nutrition value. In order for schools to qualify for free and reduced breakfast and lunches for federal reimbursement, school lunches must supply 1/3 and breakfasts 1/4 of the recommended daily allowances for calories, protein, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. This means that the school lunches provided for students who are eligible for the free lunch programs are nutritious, and these students are provided with the proper nutrition for academic achievement. For this reason, students who come from low socioeconomic homes should not be hungry during the school day. What I found interesting is many parents or students who meet the requirements do not take advantage of this program. Parents of students who come from food insufficient homes may choose not to apply for the free and reduced school lunch because they have misunderstandings or misconceptions about the food lunch program. If the mother or father is an immigrant, even though they may or may not be here legally, they may fear that information will be turned over to the immigration authorities. A second fact I found interesting is when students reach secondary school, there can be a stigma around receiving free lunches, and students have a fear of looking inadequate by standing in the free lunch line. So kids would rather not eat than go through the humiliation. And according to the Journal of Nutrition, food insufficient students are more susceptible to infection, which results in missing school. Another topic of interest, which I've included in my research, is the easy access to non-nutritional foods students have on campus. Students have access to competitive foods, which are typically found in vending machines, They can be revenue driven, or it can be a la carte in school cafeterias. This is such as like Pop-Tarts or Domino's or Coca-Cola. Those are examples of competitive foods. In high schools, school policies might allow students to leave school during lunchtime, which provides students with the opportunity to have access to fast foods during their lunch. These examples contribute to the poor eating choices students have. Lastly, I interviewed my dietitian who works specifically with college students to set up meal plans. She specifically mentions in my interview that when she works with students on their meal plan, it is very common for students to perform better academically because she's providing them with the food they need. In conclusion, as a future teacher, I would like to promote healthy eating to my students and find ways I can incorporate it in my classroom. Healthy eating is not only important for students' academic achievement, but important for lifelong success. If students can learn these skills at a young age, they will be setting themselves up for a lifelong healthy life. When students are eating healthy throughout the school day, they are setting themselves up for academic success.